Hello, Mike. Good evening, good evening, good evening, guys. It's erupted again. We are moments away. Um, Viewer discretion advised. You're going to hear some terrible, terrible language. But I stated about 10 hours ago, 11 hours ago, Caroline Levitt and Donald Trump has announced that we will bring in the Insurrection Act to Minnesota. What that means is the Insurrection Act was implemented in 1803, and Donald Trump is really considering what we're seeing now. Can you believe this is still happening? Um, we're going to talk about on this live on Governor Tim Walz, as he is actually getting closer and closer in the mayor from being held responsible and probably put behind bars real soon. Right now, the president and the whole world is watching this. And if this Insurrection Act gets implemented, and he can, by the way, guys, just before I go any farther, it means a whole lot. If you can like the video and subscribe, it really, if you enjoy these lives, it really helps the channel out. So thank you so much. Now, with that said, if he did not close the border, I want everybody to listen to me very closely, and welcome in everybody. If he did not close the border, then he would not be able to implement the Insurrection Act. Does that make sense? So in other words, if it was Joseph Biden, he would not be able to do this. And what that means is he would have total control
Welcome to
of
Fast Food
Minnesota.
Lawyers. Can I interest you in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy special?
Well,
as far as what's happening.
I don't know if bankruptcy's the...
Okay, so right now we have a situation happening. By the way, the ICE agent who was attacked last night, most of us watched, is doing better. However, I think he's out of the hospital, but he has to have private security. He's in a place where he can't even see his family right now. And we're going to get into that too, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for being here. I'll let you guys look a little bit what's going on here. They're actually saying, shame on you. Shame on you. Tim Walz spoken earlier today, and the mayor. I apologize, but the mayor with the funny hair that comes in front of his forehead, I forget his name. If one of you guys want to put his name in there, in case we care, they're under fire. Trump is ready to go. He's ready to bring in National Guards and military. It's called the Insurrection Act, which was implemented in 1807, I believe. What that means is he'll bring in the U.S. military into Minneapolis because of the weak leadership of Tim Walz. What they're doing here, ladies and gentlemen, they are encouraging these people, these paid protesters. A lot of them are being paid to do this. It's so rehearsed. And a lot of them don't even understand what's going on in this world with the immigration law. And you can see this has actually started. It actually started about a half hour ago, but I was waiting. You can see here, this is federal right here. This is federal agent street right now. Okay. So if you go on this street, they will be arrested with a felony and put in jail. And I believe we are probably about 24 hours or less from Donald Trump, the great president of all time, to implement the Insurrection Act to Minneapolis. And what that means, one more time, he would have 100% control of the streets and city of Minneapolis, North Minnesota, you name it. Any kind of interference, they will be held. National Guards will take these people, handcuff them, and put them behind bars. Enough is enough. And this has to be done. This has been going on now for several days. Actually, it's been going on for weeks. But now, most recently, it's actually getting to the point where it's getting out of control. And neighborhoods. I mean, so yesterday, if you're new, what happened yesterday was a federal agent It was not a protest. It was in a neighborhood, and a lot of us watched it last night. There was subjects in a car from Venezuela. They were wanted. They were bad guys, and they were laughing. They struck the federal agent with a shovel and a end of a broomstick, and they were transferred to one was to the hospital, into the detention center. They will be sent back to Venezuela. We're not going to put up with it anymore. We are not going to put up with it anymore. We need to save the United States of America, our tax-paying money. Thank you for the any donations that are coming in. We appreciate it. I will try to get the best possible feed that's out there. But right now, here we are again. About a week ago, Renee Good was shot, lost her life for making a very bad decision. And we are moments away, maybe about less than 24 hours away from Donald Trump taking over Minneapolis. Now, Tim Walz has stated today, and I quote, and that mayor, who I can't remember his name, Tim Walz is basically saying, we have war on the government, and pretty much, he says this. You ready, ladies and gentlemen? He says, take your cell phones, make sure you have your Android, your iPhone, have your cell phone, your iPad with you at all times. Listen what I am saying. Welcome in. He's basically saying, Tim Walz is saying, have your cell phones ready. I want you to video record everything, meaning of the federal ICE agents. He goes, I want to record it with your phone. I want to hear what they say, and then we'll use it against them. Think about what I just said. These are not my words. These are Tim Walz's words. The governor of Minneapolis, who allegedly is being held responsible for fraud for Somalian community. He's basically saying, take your cell phone, keep it close by, get in their face, and pretty much we want video proof. So he says they don't belong there. He even said at times they're not even law enforcement. Think about what this was a man who was going to be vice president, God forbid, with Kamala Harris, who could have been running the United States of America, or vice president of the United States. Here we go. I got some audio here. Federal property. Get back. Get out of here. Arrest Tim Walz. Exactly. Welcome in, everybody. New York City. How are you? Welcome in. Can you believe this is going on now? A little over a week now. Actually, it's been going on longer, but most recently, chaos. Chaos again. Chaos. But not for long, folks. Not for long. So once again, these people, majority of these protesters are paid protesters. I don't know how much they're getting paid. They're not working jobs like you and I are. They're not paying taxes. I'm going to see if I can get another feed. This one here has been freezing in and out, so bear with me 1 second. Hey, welcome in, everybody. I'm going to try to get another feed. This feed has pretty much frozen up. Let me see if I can get local Fox 29 here. What we got here? Crazy stuff, folks.
Average of 6.06% this week. That's the lowest level in more than 3 years.
Can you believe?
They haven't even used no tear gas or nothing today.
Oh, here we go.
They're just practicing for whatever reason.
All right, I got 3 feeds here that I can show you. But before I do so, thank you so much for joining this live stream. I'm going to give you the very best of the best live streams. Shout out to the the Minneapolis news outlets. It's about 5:27 local time in Minneapolis. Once again, Donald Trump has Carolyn Levitt has made an announcement today on the press conference, and I quote, it's called the Insurrection Act. What that basically means is Trump would have total control with National Guards, military if possible, bringing in the troops and cleaning this mess up within minutes. Personally, I love Donald Trump. I would have done this 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. This is terrible what's happening. He's given Tim Walz every opportunity to acknowledge and call the White House and say, hey, he doesn't have to like Donald Trump. He doesn't even have to kiss his ass. But what he should do is respect the federal ICE agents who are there taking these people from El Salvador, most recently Venezuela and Mexico, wherever they might be from. Can I mention there's people from Thailand, Chinese, that were who've been convicted of child porn, murderers, much worse, rapists, and you don't hear about that on any news outlets, of course not CNN. These ICE agents are not there to hurt anybody. They are there to protect the residents of Minneapolis, whether they're white or black or Hispanic or Democrat, Republican. Of course, they are there to do their job. And a lot of them are Democrats, Republicans as well. Democrats and Donald Trump says, we will take over Minneapolis. When I say take over, I'm not saying take over the business, because I know a lot of people are going to come in here and put words in my mouth. Let me make it clear. He will take over the streets very shortly with National Guards, and it will become safe, because this is not a safe situation. You'll see what I mean in a second. All right. This is out of control. We had an incident yesterday. I'll bring this up to date. I'll say it now, and I'll say it probably in a few more minutes again. Last night, we were live. We seen what happened in a neighborhood. These were three men, illegal under Biden administration, ladies and gentlemen, in 2022, who came over here illegal. They were, ICE had word that they were in this neighborhood. They chased them down. The vehicle had an accident. They got out of the car. They ran into an apartment house or apartment. The ICE agents went after them, not with their guns, to take them down without their weapons. These three Venezuela, very bad men, smirked, laughed, took a shovel, and at times were poking at them, a broomstick, and then the ICE agent says, whoa. We got to protect ourselves, other fellow ICE agents and people that were around there. And they hit one in the leg. He was transported to a local hospital. He was released with minor injuries and put into custody. And what I'm hearing, they're going to be sent back to Venezuela. We don't need them in our prison. We need to send them the hell back. This is chaos. And this is all because of, it's all because of majority of these blue state governors. But most recently, Mr. Tim Walz, if you want to call him that, and a mayor, who I forgot his name, and who you see him out there all the time. They are encouraging people, and I quote, to bring their cell phones, their iPads, and point them at the agents and have video, and hoping that, the ICE agents will attack them, which they won't unless, they need to, because right now they're crossing Federal Street. And he's encouraged them to have their cell phones and listen to their language, and then have that as video evidence, and then they can use that in the court, and then possibly get the ICE agents out of Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, it will not happen. We have Donald Trump as the president, and I just want to put this out there. The Insurrection Act that was implemented in 1807, if, a lot of people don't realize this, but if Trump did not close the border and implement and have all illegals coming over, then guess what? He couldn't use this. Now, I'm not saying he is or not, but I think what I'm hearing, it's going to happen real soon. Imagine that. Minneapolis would be upside down. And where would Tim Walz be? Well, guess what? He probably wouldn't even be in Minneapolis. He probably would go somewhere on an island somewhere, maybe Hawaii or somewhere away. Because he doesn't care about the paid protesters. He doesn't care about the residents of Minneapolis. And I'll even go a little farther. He doesn't even care about the Somalian community. But he was involved, allegedly, in this racketeering and fraud. This is terrible what's going on. So once again, it's about 5:30 local time. And this has been going on now too long. And Trump has had enough. Trump has had enough is enough. We will bring in our military. We will take over Minneapolis streets. We will make it safer and better, because it's not fair for the hardworking Minneapolis people that are going to work hard each and every day to support their families, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or independents. They are working. They got to worry about their streets in event of emergency. God forbid they need an ambulance to their home. They might not make it. This is out of control, and Tim Walsh should be in handcuffs, in the orange suit like my thumbnail, and put in jail for many reasons. But for this particular reason right now, this is totally crazy. Now, I got some footage here. I'll show you guys what's going on. Gonna see if I can bring back their local news outlet here. Yeah, and once again, folks, if you're just coming in, I appreciate the like, subscribe if you haven't, as I'm bringing you up to date on the most recent chaos that's happened in Minneapolis and other states. Tim Walsh needs to be in prison. A lot of these people are paid protesters.
I saw your video or what? Why should he call me 2 times and who cares?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get something on here real quick. Hold on, bear with me, guys. Let me just get a footage out here. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Everybody's doing well. I hope you're not, if you're living in Minneapolis, you're not getting involved in any of this stuff, because guess what? If you are there and you're on the streets and you're interfering with ICE agents, you will be held responsible 100%. You will be put in jail. You will have a felony. And ladies and gentlemen, it would just turn your whole life around. So stay out of the federal ICE agents. They are not there harming the local people, okay? They want to go home like everybody else, to their families, have a roof over their head, and live a good life, all right? And they're being ambushed. Actually, there's reports, as I try to find a better footage, there's reports that they're following them, the ICE agents, when they're on their breaks and going to a restaurant and having coffee, and they're following them and threatening them, while they're off duty for a little bit. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. All right, what we got here? Hold on. Oh, here we go. I got some local news here. Hold on. Give me a couple seconds.
And this morning, President Trump posted to Truth Social that the ICE operations here in the Twin Cities will continue after a federal judge denied the state's request to force an immediate ban. Back to you.
All right, Asher. Now, Asher was just mentioning here a couple of moments ago about the president threatening to deploy the military to Minnesota under the Insurrection Act.
Insurrection Act, right here.
Making that claims on Truth Social this morning, writing in part, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Now, the last time a president used the Insurrection Act, this was back in 1992, you may recall, for the Rodney King riots in LA. And that's when President George W. Bush sent the military in at the request at the governor of California then. All right. We continue to see a lot of ICE agents provoking strong response from community members in the metro. And this was the scene at the Cancun Mexican Grill and Cantina. And this was in St. Paul. Take a look at this.
Take off your mask! Take off your mask!
Now, the crowd continuing to hurl insults at the four agents as they
That's what I was talking
exited
about
from the restaurant, calling them cowards and un-American. And for more details and every development regarding ICE's presence in the Twin Cities and the reaction around it, you can stick with Fox 9 and Fox Local and on our website, which of course is fox9.com. Okay, we've got another twist now in the story of the sudden resignations in the office of U.S. Attorney from Minnesota. Attorney General Pam Bondi now says that Joe Thompson and 5 other prosecutors did not resign as previously reported. She now says she fired them.
They came, they said, we want to resign, but we want to use our annual leave up until April, meaning they wanted the taxpayers to pay for them to go on vacation because they decided they didn't want to support law enforcement. So the breaking news tonight, I fired them all. They're fired from the office. And our U.S. attorney there, Rosen, he's great. He was just confirmed 3 months ago.
Fire them all.
So he has his hands full. And that's what we're facing around the country, the deep state in many of these offices. And we learned these people had been out there interviewing at liberal law firms prior to this. But I'll tell you what, from a personnel level, that'd be an HR nightmare.
Well, Joe Thompson was the acting U.S. Attorney for Minnesota for a time, and he was very key in several of the recent fraud investigations, especially in the Feeding Our Future fraud case. Our cameras saw him apparently moving out of his office at the federal courthouse yesterday. Okay, meantime, we've got a federal judge that has blocked the Trump administration from cutting SNAP funding for hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans. The USDA had demanded that Minnesota do in-person interviews with 100,000 households to make sure that they were eligible for SNAP.
I'd fire them.
The department gave the state 30 days to do that verification.
Fire them all.
The judges
what they're doing to Minneapolis, Minnesota, I don't have the words to describe on how the government officials and Tim Walz and a lot of the mayor, the chief of police included. The chief of police should put his badge and resign. Because when you're chief of the police, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you're exposed to put the politics aside. First of all, for me, this is not even politics. This is common sense. You have ICE agents there to protect your city and state so innocent people don't lose their lives, okay? And to get these people, like they did last night, 3 subjects out of a car, and they were not from here. They were from Venezuela, and you got more of them in Minneapolis, in Ohio. Thank you for being here, Maribel. You have them from California. This is going to be done whether they like it or not. And if they interfere, which they are interfering, Tim Walz is interfering, he'll be in jail. Okay, Donald Trump will take full. So we don't have a president. We don't have a president we've been used to under the Bush's years, under the Clinton years, under the worst president administration ever, the Biden administration, run by several members of the Democrat Party, Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren. We don't have Barack Obama, one of the worst presidents aside from the Biden. We now have a leader that has closed our borders, ladies and gentlemen, who is trying to keep the bad guys and women out of our country and put back. That's why ICE agents are there. They are there for that reason and that purpose only. And for people who don't understand that, you better wake up, because if you get involved in the streets of Minneapolis this evening or tomorrow, which I believe by tomorrow the military will be there, National Guards, you will be held responsible 100%. And he doesn't care, Trump. He doesn't care if you're a damn mayor, a stupid mayor, a very stupid governor, a corrupted governor, a governor that allegedly committed fraud or knew about it. Either way, he's got to go. Who was for Somalian community to transport money, millions of money back to Somalia. That's a governor that you want to be in Minneapolis or any other state, let alone running for vice president. So this is a serious developing situation. Donald Trump is taking all precaution, and he will sign the Insurrection Act into law very shortly. And as these people think he's bluffing, I think these people who are getting paid really think Donald Trump is bluffing. A lot of them don't even know what the hell's going on. They really don't. Oh, here we go. What we got here? I might have a better feed here. Give me a couple, like 10 seconds here. Hey, welcome in, guys, while we wait for this feed to come on. I appreciate being here. Thank you for liking, subscribing. This world is totally upside down. But let me tell you something right now. We have a president who cares for us. He cares for the residents of Minneapolis, and he is not going to let this shit happen. No more. In fact, I will call Donald Trump out. I would have had National Guards, I would have had military, and I would have signed the insurrection law on, what is today, Wednesday? I would have done it probably over the weekend. He's given plenty of opportunities. Oh, here we go. I got a feed here. It's starting to, yep, it's starting to fill up. Here we go. Viewers' discretion advised. Immigrants are welcome here. Immigrants are welcome here. That's what they're saying. In the chat, do you guys agree with this? Yes or no? Wire in. Welcome in, Ozzy. Hey, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa! They think that Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, is bluffing.
Immigrants are welcome here. No fear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Hey, welcome into our moderators. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Janine, Mike M, Crystal, or anybody else who's in here. Appreciate you guys being here tonight. Once again, this is what? About 8-9 days of this? But, what is this here? All right. Once again, folks, if you're coming in for the first time, Donald Trump will implement Insurrection Act, and what that means is simply military National Guards to Minneapolis, Minnesota, which means Donald Trump, our president, would have 100% control of the streets of Minneapolis and have total control of Tim Walz. Tim Walz days are numbered. His days are numbered. The mayor's days are numbered. And Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman, days are numbered. Trump warned them, Janine. Thank you for putting that in there, Janine. Trump has warned them. I would have warned them a week ago. Viewers' discretion is advised.
I'll take it off.
Welcome in, Ardell, our loyal subscriber, Ardell. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to New Zealand. Shout out, New Zealand. Once again, viewer discretion advised for YouTube. But that's the language these people use. When I say these people, what I mean by these people, these cult. Sorry, guys. But this is what part of our world has come to. When I say part of our world has come to.
Supposedly they didn't hear that.
I spoken to a friend who lives in Minneapolis. He's a hardworking resident. And I believe he's a Democrat. But what he's not into is this. Paid protesters interfering with law and order. Law and order. Basically keeping these people safe. Get off the streets. You're breaking the law. You're on the streets, you're breaking the law. Go spend some time in jail. Be in prison with your governor. With your governor. Bad language, huh? That's the language from the United States of America, huh? Nope, not us on here, right? That's the language. Oh, where are you going? Leave Minnesota. And for those who are coming in, they are following these ICE agents to the coffee shop, to the restaurants, to the hotel. Can you imagine that? You are a federal ICE agent. You got to worry about these people on your break time, on your sleep time, of these people threatening, possibly hurting federal ICE agents. Well, guess what? President Trump has had enough. I also want to bring you up to date for those who are coming in of the ICE agent who got struck yesterday from the Venezuela. He is released from the hospital. He is transported to a security area where his family can't even see him because threats. Think about this. I want everybody to lower this for 1 second. I want everybody to think about what I'm going to say right here. Ready? Imagine you're a ICE agent. God bless them. May they all be safe. And you take down a bad guy, an illegal immigrant from another country. You took 3 of them down, and you are being threatened by Americans, some of these protesters and the government. So you did your job. You're told to do your job. And some of them are Democrats, some are Republicans, right? And they can't see their family. They're worried. Think about what I just said. You tell me our world's not upside down? I'm sorry, but I just don't understand. Where's the National Guards, Trump? Bring them in. Bring them in. Insurrection Act. Sign the Insurrection Act. Bring in the military. Let's go. Get these idiots off the street. Yes or no? Get these idiots off the street. Yes? Or do we leave them? What's your thoughts, folks? Got 955 in the chat. What's your thoughts? Is that language coming out of a younger female? Terrible. Terrible. What we got here? What we got here? I don't think. Tough guy, huh? A tough guy there. Until he's behind bars, right? They're all tough until they're behind bars and they get their felony.
Go fucking kill yourself! Get that car! Fucking ice pigs!
Wow.
American immigrants for the metaphor of these Nazi punks. You guys are fucking worthless! Fuck you! I hope you got PTSD! Kill yourself! Oh, piece of shit! Hey, don't look away! Look at us! Don't look to the sky! Look at us! Cause you can't look at people in their fucking faces!
Viewer discretion advised, folks. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna erupt here, moments. I can just feel it. Something's gonna happen.
Your face clearly, bro. Put on your mask. Put on your mask. Put your fucking mask. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. I don't think I'm PTSD. Kill yourself.
Hold on, guys. There was a little bit of I wasn't going to show that. It looked like there was a child there. I'm not going to show. Let me. Minnesota has erupted. Donald Trump. I would say, here's my thoughts, folks. I would assume within the next few hours, Donald Trump will sign the Insurrection Act and bring in military forces to Minneapolis. It's got to happen now. It's going to happen. He needs to take charge and put these people behind bars. When I say these people, Tim Walz and the mayor and anybody else who interferes. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. completely nuts. This is America, huh? Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, is this America? Is this United States of America? Or is this some other country? I mean, come on.
Tax Act wants to remind you taxes are due soon.
We got to pay some bills here.
Let's get them
Hold
over
on.
with. Shop Granger. Talk shop for your shop.
1 million industrial grade products backed by 24/7 customer support. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're just coming in, Trump is moments away to taking control of Minneapolis. This, ladies and gentlemen, needs to stop. Right now. It needs to stop. Needs to stop. This is not America way. These are federal ICE agents. And Trump will bring in the National Guards, the military, and take these people and arrest them. Give them felonies. Put Tim Walsh in jail. Send Ayan Omar back to Somalia. Drop her off with the Somalia community. Let them go run around naked as they're making an arrest here. Female. That's probably that female with that very bad mouth. Ugh. That was my daughter. Forget about it. That's right. Take them down. Arrest them all. Arrest them all. Go ICE go. Can we have a little go ICE go in the chat? How about a little go ICE go? Huh? Ice ice baby? Sorry for the rap music in the background. Nothing wrong with rap music. No need for it right now. Ice, ice, that's right. Ice, ice. Arrest them. That's right. Take another one in. Take them all in. Send them over to South Philadelphia for one night. Send them to Staten Island. That's right. Take him into custody. Put those handcuffs on real tight. Absolutely, Ozzy. Send them over there, too. Send them in Bama. Send them to these places. They won't last 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes. It looks like to me, guys, that... I don't know. Is that the police backing up? Is that the local police backing up? See, we need National Guard. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask this. Yes or no, National Guards to Minneapolis? Yes or no? Is it time? Yes or no? Bringing our military to Minneapolis, Minnesota. No, yes, couple no's, couple yeses. Couple yeses. What's your thoughts? Clean it up. Clean it up, somebody says. You know what I would love? For somebody to play Ice Ice Baby. You know what I mean? Can one person just play Ice Ice Baby? How about everybody in the chat? I can't do it. Go ahead and find Ice Ice Baby and put it nice and loud in your house. Put it on nice and loud. Ice Ice Baby. Let's go. I just want to pause for one quick second and shout out to MindSpeak for the $5 donation to help sponsor today's live. We thank you, MindSpeak. I guess if this continues, we're going to have to scratch Land Up Free off the national anthem. While they play that music, guys, I got to lower it a little bit. YouTube has their rules on these copyrights, and unfortunately, when you're... Now, if you're just coming in for the first time, this is crazy. Trump has had enough. Carolyn Levitt came on today. She talked about the situation in Iran. She talked about the situation going forward in Minneapolis, and she's made it clear that Donald Trump will bring in the National Guard. He can do it. The only way he couldn't do it if he didn't okay and close the border. But thank God we have a president who cares about America. As you can see the sign. Well, maybe you can't see it. Let me get some light on. Let me get some light on. As you can see behind me, Trump won. Get over it. He's the president for all. Whether you like him or not, he is there. He's our president cleaning up the mess. A mess. A mess of fraud. A mess of corruption. A huge mess with Governor Tim Walz, who is going to be the vice president of the United States. Trust me, it was too big to rig this time. Thank God it was too big to rig. Ladies and gentlemen, people voted for Donald Trump for one big... I voted for him from a lot of things. I voted for him for 3 times. But one big thing, and guess what? Democrats, Republicans decided and agreed on this one thing. What was it? Take a guess. That's right. Closing the border so we don't have these people from other countries, from mental institutions, rapes, murders, drug cartels. Oh, we took care of them in Venezuela as well, right? Coming here. The ICE agents don't want to go there. They don't want to be doing this. Well, we need to. And that's what's going on. But Tim Walz, he doesn't give a shit. All he cares about is making millions of dollars and also taking it away from the taxpayer that we pay federal taxes. Also, for middle-class, hard-working people that could use a little Medicaid, could use a little SNAP benefits, could use some help on some rough times for a little bit. And guess what? Some of them aren't getting it. And ICE agents are there to protect the city, the states, and take these bad guys like we seen last night on this live. And once again, thank you so much for over 200 likes on yesterday's live. We seen what happened, right? The ICE agents weren't going after the people. Although, if you put on CNN News last night, does anybody watch CNN News? But if you watch CNN headlines, do you know what the headline was? Let me say this. ICE agent attacks again. I'll repeat. Federal ICE agent attacked the residents again. No, they did not do that. Most of us know that. They did not attack the first time. Okay? They are defending themselves, federal ICE agents, the city of Minneapolis, the people there, from getting hurt, injured, or losing their lives. And what happened? We seen. You see what we seen, right? I just want to pause for 1 second and big a shout out, first of all, for Ozzy Ray, a big sponsor, and today's live and many, many lives. Trump's bringing them real Insurrection Act soon. Yeah, the Insurrection Act was implemented in 1807. Now, real quickly, I didn't know this, Ozzy, but you probably did, Ozzy, because you're very smart. I did not know this. But if Trump would have not signed and closed the borders and had open borders, then I didn't know this. Then he could not sign that. Imagine that. Imagine if it was a Democrat president or maybe even another Republican president who didn't care about America. Then guess what? In the next couple hours, which I believe Trump will sign that, Ozzy, and thank you for the $20.26 for 2026. And that this would be going on for hours, days, weeks. And ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, I don't want to see anybody lose their life. Not even these paid protesters. Because I said this before, and you guys can disagree. These people are caught in a cult, brainwashed, getting paid, great actors, but I don't want to see anybody lose their life. They don't understand the full situation. They are hypnotized by these Antifa and other Democrat run mob, if you would, and it's not their fault. I mean, a lot of these are kids, like our kids, 18. And again, I don't like what they're doing, but I blame the gosh darn governor, mayor, not just in Minneapolis, ladies and gentlemen. I blame people like Gavin Newsom, that piece of shit in Chicago, New Jersey. Majority of these radical, organized, cult mob party, because it's not a party anymore. I've said this multiple times. So, but yeah, if Trump did not sign the immigration law, in better words, then he would not, I didn't know this, I just found this out, he would not be able to do that. But since he is our president with common sense, make America great again, MAGA, then he can go ahead and sign this. And I think he should have done it a couple days ago. But nonetheless, let's hope he signs it now, right now. Sign it. Sign it now, Trump, and get these people back. And if they don't listen, guess what? Put them in jail. Give them felonies. It's a felony to be out in the street. It's a damn shame that it come to this. And somebody had a great comment last night. I forget the person's name, and I apologize. And I asked the question, are you surprised? And I would have said 85% of us were not surprised. But what we're surprised of is we're surprised that it took a governor to actually encourage these people to do that. See, we're not asking for Tim Walz to agree with Donald Trump on everything. We're not even asking him, to be in politics. But what he can do, since he is the vice president, God forbid. But what we can ask him to do as the governor, until he's in prison, to at least say a few words and say, hey, get off the streets, obey ICE, thank you very much, be safe. But no, it's the exact opposite. Bring your cell phones, put them in their face, any federal agents, follow them to the coffee shops, follow them to their lunch, follow them to their hotel, and do whatever you like. I encourage, we have a war on government. So he's basically saying we have a civil war. And that's the governor in Minneapolis. Is that what we have? All right, let me get into some comments real quick. Once again, I appreciate you guys being here. It's unfortunate the crowds are kind of, I wouldn't say they're growing, but they're still out there.
Texas? Why are you so scared of him? What the fuck is this special? I know that you guys are trying to find out about this every Again, except the teams like
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is this. We have, well, we're not surprised, are we? We had we had Kamala Harris. She's made it clear that she supports this. She went ahead and elected Tim Walz, and I was wondering why she would pick him. Well, the reason that she picked him, and I said this multiple times, but for the new audience that's in here, she picked him for one reason, and that one reason only. The one reason was they knew about the fraud, because the fraud hasn't been happening this year or this month. It's been happening since COVID, the 2020, and they knew about it. So they were hoping, they were confident that they were going to go in and win an election. They were hoping they can cheat and win the election. It was too big to rig, as Donald Trump alluded to. And that's why they went after Governor Tim Walz. Thank God we have a God who saved Donald Trump assassination, because I believe in God. And I got to tell you, otherwise, I don't know where we'd be right now. I don't know where we would be. Well, I know where we'd be. We'd have more homeless because we help out the homeless. We would have more people homeless because of why? More money. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Democrats, Republicans. Let's be honest. More money would have went to Somalia, Mexico, El Salvador, Venezuela, to other countries, China, and less money for the middle class people, upper middle class people who hit some bumps in the road who could have used the money. So thank God we have a president. And by the way, I don't know if you heard, they were really confident that they're going to come out with a better health care. They haven't really got into it too much, but it's going to be some kind of a savings plan. It's pretty much going to be for a lot of the middle class people to make sure they get the benefits for them and not other countries, like a lot of Medicaid, a lot of fraud in Medicaid that's going out to a lot of these illegals. And a lot of that money could be helping out people that can really use it right now, you know? And our veterans, they fought. I mean, think about this. How many veterans we have on here? How many veterans? And God bless our vets, our military. You know, God bless you all. I really want to say thank you so much. But think about it. Some of them are suffering from mental illness and they're on the streets and they can use our help. And a lot of them are not getting our help. That's a damn shame. It really is. It really is. I want to pause and stop for a second and acknowledge our super chat, Mind Speak, once again. On the ICE situation, I do agree with Stephen A. and Joe Rogan. Stephen A. is a ESPN analyst who's a Democrat, who's actually sounding like an independent, because they see everything on both sides. What I mean is lawful and personal options. Hey, thank you for that incredible comment, Mind Speak, and also your support to this channel, along with Ozzy and everybody else who's supported this channel. We appreciate it. And great comment. Yes. Stephen A. Smith, love or hate him, Democrat, still, not for long. Yeah, he likes to look at both sides. And I really enjoy some of his what he says on exactly what's happening. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like the situation. And he disagrees on some things what Trump is doing. He would like a better explanation. But yeah, well said. Thank you. I'm going to ask this. Is anybody a Democrat on here and you just don't particularly like Trump's issue? But my question is, do you support this stuff? When I say this stuff, do you support, do you call this a protest? But let's just say, do you support these protests and hate on ICE? Yes or no? You don't have to like Trump, but do you really, in your heart, think this is correct? Hell no. Hell no. I love Poppy Trump. I like that. I like that comment. Poppy Trump. Let me turn that music down. Remember this, Trump is for all of us, guys. Each and every one of us. Yeah, it's not a protest. It is it's just a bunch of shit. And, you know, I think finally Trump has said, you know what, you know, we'll let it get by a little bit. But I think it come to this. I think Trump's had enough. All right, let me see here. Sal, I am a Democrat. It's wrong. Island Boy 99. Hey, shout out to Island Boy 99, who had enough guts. I say, Sal, hey, I'm a Democrat, but it's wrong. There you go. You know, there you go. You know, he's a Democrat. He's a proud Democrat. And guys, don't hate on that person. And not because he's honest. He's got his reasons that, you know, he might want to put on there. He doesn't have to. He's a Democrat. He stands behind the party. I can bet you this, Island. I bet you want a better party. You probably are saying, what is going on? Well, let me just say this. There's Democrats out there that are qualified. They are very well qualified. But my friend, unfortunately, you're not going to hear about them, he or she. You know why? Because if they speak like you just spoke right now, you know what Chuck Schumer will do? He will say goodbye. And my opinion. And that's what's happening. So there you go. There's a Democrat who spoke. I'm a Democrat. Probably a proud Democrat. And don't hate on that person. But disagrees on this. Because that person has common sense. You know, maybe just doesn't care for what's going on with Donald Trump, and that's fine. But how the hell can you accept this? All right, let's continue. Anybody else? Anybody else a Democrat that disagrees on this? Somebody says, why Trump? I'm curious. And I'm going to take that comment that you asked like an adult. And I think you did. Because I'll tell you this. You ready? Common sense. Common sense cares about the red, white, and blue. That's it. I can go on and on, but he cares. Common sense. It's bringing the United States back like it should be. Now, for those who think that I think Donald Trump is perfect, no. I only know one person is perfect. Okay? And that's Jesus himself. But Trump is a hell of a lot better on what we're witnessing on this so-called Democrat Party right now. Okay? And he's probably better than 85% of the Republican Party right now. Maybe 80. Mind Speak, once again, coming through and dropping a donation for the channel. I'm an independent, and both ICE and protests are wrong. So there you go. There's a Democrat. Excuse me. Sorry, Mind Speak. Here's an independent who just came out and admitted many times, not the first time Mind Speak has said that, I'm an independent. And don't particularly care what's going on with these protests. Not at all. How many more are Democrats or independents? How many more? Hey, I want to welcome in Susu. How many more are independent or Democrats who just support the issues? Probably I'll speak for you guys. Probably the older version of a Democrat Party, like a moderate Democrat, like the Bill Clinton years. Correct? I'll speak for you. And probably don't want to change that, and that's fine. I get it. I like to see both sides. But look, there's two right there, and many more I probably missed that don't agree on these protests. Why am I calling it a protest? It's an organized corruption. That's what it is. Organized. Paid, organized. Don't trust them. Hey, I want to just say this real quick and pause again, if I could. I want to say thank you for our moderators on here tonight. I think we have Mike. He's always on here doing a great job. High five, fist bump. And Janine. I believe I might have seen Crystal. But regardless, and others are on there. And shout out and prayers with Lemon J. We had a little setback. I know Lemon J watches these lives afterwards for a speedy recovery. They got a lot of music playing right now, and I don't want to have to deal with any kind of copyrights. It's a pain in the butt. So until they get this music down, I'll show some footage again. Once again, I want to pause for another second, if I could, real quickly. Once again, Mind Speak, a high five, fist bump to you. We appreciate you, my friend. All the fights between the Republicans and right and the left make us look bad. It really does. It really does, Mind Speak. Thank you once again for the right and left. You know, because other nations, They're looking at what's going on. We see with our two eyes what's going on in Iran right now, or at least there's reports now, according to the White House and resources, that supposedly, I don't know if anybody really knows, I'm not calling out the White House, the protest in Iran has kind of slowed down a little bit. But anyhow, it's not the American way, not this, right? I think most of us on here would agree there's a time and place for a very peaceful protest. I always like to say parks, Monday through Friday, or a weekend maybe, afternoon, morning hours, have your intercom. You could even have some bad language. Make sure there's no young kids. I'm just saying, but not on federal agents, not on the streets, not blocking the streets, not, it's just out of control what we're seeing here. I got to get rid of this feed. They're doing a good job with the music. Let me see if I can get one that's all that rap music.
It is not 2016.
Oh, here we go.
It is not 2017. It is not 2018. Get you a balance.
I want to see who's streaming this so I can go ahead and give you guys their channel. I don't know if it's a YouTube or a news. Hold on one second so I can give you guys the... Okay. So this channel is called Loudman651. Shout out. He's covering this protest. If you'd like to subscribe to his channel, he does a good job. Let's see what we have. Here we go. All right, I'll turn the camera around. No music here. He's got a little bit better coverage. Viewer discretion advised, folks.
I smell weed. I need some weed. I smell weed. I got some dabs at the crib.
By the way, this is not the streamer making these comments. Just want to say, this is not the streamer.
You can stream on an iPhone. Use Moblin. You can stream on an iPhone.
These are your paid protesters in the background. Some paid protesters.
Let's go, big boy!
I smell weed. You got any weed smokers in the chat? Any weed smokers? Any weed smokers? Donald Trump, he declassified weed. Donald Trump declassified weed. Descheduled it. Shout out Trump for descheduling weed, man. Shout out Trump for descheduling it. Cat piss. Just exhale, bomb rip time. Hell yeah. Cheers, man. Cheers. Yeah, I'm at the point where I might want to stop smoking for a couple years or like a couple months. I need a tolerance break. I'm at that point.
So it looks like to me, folks, that
like I didn't smoke
they got this pretty much.
I didn't smoke any weed today.
It looks under control from our view here, right? Just a lot of noise, a lot of bad language, but it doesn't look like anything at the moment I could say is escalating.
When I get weed from the dispensary, it's way better than like buying from like a street dealer, so I don't even like buying from the street dealers anymore. But I don't like going to the dispensaries either because it's super expensive. Super expensive at the dispensaries in Minnesota. They need to lighten up on the prices.
Once again, now it's Loudman651. He's out that he's covering the ICE protest live in Minneapolis, as the local news channels, for some reason or another, have. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see what we got here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Now, yeah, it looks like that it's only 1 or 2 channels that are literally at the protests. Oh, here we go. Hold on. What do you got? Fox News. We got Fox News back. Hold on. I think we have Fox News back. Give me a couple seconds, guys. Hey, Whiskey Tango, thank you once again. A shout out to Whiskey Tango, Mindspeak, and Ozzy for sponsoring today's live. Many others. We appreciate your donations. If you're new to the channel, we are blessed and able, me and my wife, to forward money over to the homeless people. We fight homeless here in Las Vegas. Let's see what we got here. I think I have another feed here. We'll have to go back to Loudman 651. All right, so what's your thoughts, guys? I mean, we've been on for about an hour now. We've been covering this pretty much for the last week. These protesters have been going on for a while now, and bring everybody up to date as quick as possible. So a YouTuber, we're going to go back a little bit, a couple weeks ago. A name of, I believe it was Nick Shirley, 23 or 25-year-old. He's an independent journalist, you know, like we are here. And he had the balls, the guts to go there with a security team. And I quote, he's got more fraud to unravel. And Tim Walz, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, he come on publicly and said, my apologies. And I'm like, whoa, what's he going to say? He says, I was aware of the fraud, but I assure you, I was not involved in the fraud. Well, he's admitted, because for me, if you knew about the fraud, you're just as guilty. And after that, maybe it was a couple hours after or shortly after, or maybe a day after, he says, we have war on a government, war on Donald Trump. We don't want the ICE agents here. Why are the ICE agents there? They are there to take the people, the migrants, they're from other countries, in particular right now, a large amount. Well, they're all over. They're in your state, they're in my state, in your city. But right now, there's a Somalian fraud, there's a Venezuela also there. We seen that last night. 3 were detained, arrested. They were actually going after an ICE agent. So now it's, and of course we had Renee Good, who lost her life, who made a very bad decision. I'm going to say this. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. I don't want to see anybody lose their life, you know, whether they're, you know, but she used the wrong judge, you know, to go there. And she had plenty of chances from a federal ICE agent who was attacked months prior with the vehicle. A vehicle is a weapon. Now, this was not a car that was at a park. I'll even go farther. This wasn't even a car that was, first of all, it's illegal to be there. But let's just say for conversation purpose, that car was just sitting on the side of the street and was reading a book. It's still a crime. A little different situation, right? But this was a woman who had plenty of chances to get out of her car, did not. And her wife, her partner, she was married, was a cheerleader. Did nothing to do to bring her wife out and say, hey, honey, or whatever you call her, you better get out, you know, or they're going to attack. They're going to come get you. But instead, what she did was cheerleader and calling the ICE agents out and pretty much motivating in a bad way, in a very bad way, in my opinion, to accelerate and go. So pretty much, in my opinion, if I was a jury, I'm not a jury, but if I was a 12th jury, she's just guilty. She should also be charged, in my opinion. But, you know, seriously, think about that. I've said this multiple times, and I know a lot of you are tired of hearing about it, but for the new audience. So, you know, they weren't there just protecting themselves, the ICE agents. They were protecting them, Renee Good and the wife. They were protecting the other people there in that area. So everybody, a lot of people have this wrong. CNN was going to twist this as much as they can. And by the way, the news today came out that the Miss Good family have a high-end attorney and will be suing the federal ICE agent and Homeland and Homeland Security. I'm sure they're going to be suing everybody they could. But that's another topic. But this is what's escalated from then and now. And in between all that, you have chaos. And Donald Trump has said, enough is enough. We will send in our National Guards and our military because we have a weak governor. And we're going to take it over. When I say we, Donald Trump and the National Guards and the military will be taking it over as he signs the Insurrection Act. And he can do it. It's been signed before. He'll sign it. I would have signed it a couple days ago, but that's me. I'm not the president. I'm far from the president. And I would take care of that. And get these people out of the area. And if they don't apply, they'll be arrested for a very long time. Has to be done for a number of reasons. Because most importantly, we have to keep our federal ICE agents that are working very hard. And for me, they deserve every penny. I would even pay them a bonus. But that's me. And also to keep the paid protesters safe. You won't hear CNN say that. Keep them safe, right? Keep the businesses safe. Otherwise, it will continue to escalate. You will eventually see businesses destroyed. Unfortunately, you're going to see more people lose their life. ICE agents possibly can lose their lives. And it has to be done. So military should be... Yes or no? Should military go in to Minneapolis like right now? Or no? Let it all just continue and think that it'll die out. Yes or no? You think this will die out? Or do we go ahead and bring military in? I'm curious. Let me get a little cigar. Couple yeses. Couple no's. Insurrection Act now. Hey, thank you for that comment. Hey, I'd like to pause one more time and shout out to a $5 donation. Chris Law. Hey, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. You rock. Why don't you guys just say, my guy is in power? We have the guns to deal with the liberals instead of going through this whole dance justifying thing. Hey, thank you so much for your donation and your comment and your thoughts on this horrific situation. Everybody has different comments on this, but I can tell you this. If you are an American, I don't care if you're gay, white, hillbilly, Democrat, Republican, Independent, like mine speak, or the Democrat who spoke his mind earlier. This is not the way to go. This does not help. It only escalates, adds fuel to the fire, and make things much, much worse for everything I just said. In other countries, I believe it was Mindspeak or many others said this last night and nights before. This is embarrassing. It really is, because other countries are saying, is that actually going on in the United States? Is that continuing going on in Minneapolis? Well, we seen it go on one day. Wait a minute. We seen it go on for 3 days. Whoa, a week? Over a week? What the hell is going on? Why does part of the world hate ICE agents and Donald Trump so much? And let me ask the audience, why does some people on here, obvious, and these radical left protesters and organized cult hate Donald Trump so much? And the ICE agent, why? I know the reason, but I like to hear others. I really do. I mean this. I like to hear let me hear from the Democrats. Let me hear from all of you. And a couple short words. I'm curious. I'm really curious. I asked a family member this. I asked a friend, a Democrat friend, and I got their answer. I want to hear some of the some other answers. Why do they hate him this much?
Hey, I know you're expensive. You're expensive lesson, right?
Let's see here. Because he's evil? Because Donald Trump's evil? Anybody else? Trump's evil. Trump's evil. Hey, I want to pause. Welcome in. I know you've been here for a little bit, Barbara. Once again, Barbara, I know you're probably doing this, but thank you. You're probably going like this. Thank you so much for your membership. Woke Mind Virus. Thank you so much for all of you that are in green. Hey, big shout out, and I know this person is going to be doing this and probably saying don't even say it, but shout out to Ozzy, who has one of the highest membership level. Ozzy, it's not unnoticed. On behalf of me and Maribel, thank you so much. Ozzy, we have another Ozzy who's a member, Ozzy Crosby. Shout out to Palon, who's on here each and every day. We say thank you. And once again, shout out to Mike M, who's been with me from the long haul, who works, talking about working hard. I know Mike's another one going like this, who's here every night, supporting this channel, doing a fantastic job as a moderator. So thank you, Mike M, and many, many more on here. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much hate. But you heard somebody say evil. Trump's evil. That Trump is evil. See, it's not that person's fault for saying that. That person is, you know, made his or her mind, I don't know who it is, up a long time ago by some of the social media, as they don't explain the correct details on a president who's saving our ass. In plain English, whether you're independent, Democrat, Republican, he is saving our ass, our future elections on both sides. Can you understand that? Because if you can't understand that, I don't know what else I can tell you. I got just too much music. It's not the channel's fault. They can't. Here's a good comment here from Barbara. Could also be severe TTS. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. I just hope that we can keep our president safe. There's not a night that goes by that I remember what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. And boy, I got to tell you, I worry each and every hour, each and every day of our president, our vice president, our cabinet members, our ICE agents. I've said that many times, on their security, because there's so much hate. I just don't trust any of them. I don't. When I say them, I'm also saying other countries as well. And when they see what's going on here with so much hate, if they see it's going on like this, then some of these countries, I just don't trust them. So, at all. Now, on other news, real quick, with the Iran situation, according to our president Donald Trump, the protesters out there have not, I think it's in the thousands, have lost their life, men and women, kids, children, has kind of like frozen, maybe, so to speak, and they are kind of, well, paused, in better words. They're paused, and the protesters are still protesting, but nobody, they have kind of stopped the harassment and the murders that are murders that have been happening there. However, Trump has not pushed back on military threats. I'm not saying they're going to go in tonight or tomorrow. However, Trump has always had full surprises. Thank you for the donation that just came in again. And he likes to do things when stock market is closed. It will be closed tomorrow on Friday. And, you know, he'll do those things like he did with Venezuela and Maduro and his wife on a Friday night over the weekend. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it continues and they continue to torture and murder the protesters, the regime in Iran, then he might just bring in and save the people in Iran. It's a very complex situation. I have different thoughts on it, but you know, you can't have this happening. It's just too many people, and we'll see. We're going to keep an eye on that. So make sure you do have all notifications set, because this very well could be happening again. Like I said, again, according to Donald Trump and officials, everything has kind of died down a little bit, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. There's an Iranian, there's a news station out there. I forget his name. He's really popular. He's got millions of subscribers. If somebody can remember his name, he does a great job. I don't even think he knows too much, but he does speak, you know, he speaks the language and knows a little bit more than, you know, certainly the U.S. news, what's going on. So forget what his name was. It's a TV something. This was Carolyn, excuse me, I apologize. This is Carolyn Levitt earlier talking, addressing some of the reporters. Should we watch her for a little bit? It would help if I put some volume up.
On full display. The most enraging and unacceptable part of this story is that her death was entirely preventable. DeCarlos Brown never should have been on that train that night. In fact, he should have been behind bars. DeCarlos Brown has been charged with crimes no fewer than 14 times, dating back to 2011, including for armed robbery, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and shoplifting. Brown had previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023. Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing. Think about how crazy it is to ask a career criminal, someone who by definition repeatedly breaks the law, to just sign a written promise and come back again another day. This is madness. This monster should have been locked up, and Arena should still be alive. But Democrat politicians,
don't talk about that,
and weak prosecutors would rather virtue signal than lock up criminals and protect their communities.
Right.
And perhaps most shamefully of all, the majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer.
Exactly.
Here's the truth that every American must know. Too many innocent people across the country continue to pay the price of the failed experiment known as cashless bail that has been championed by the Democrat Party for years. All the way back in 2020, North Carolina's then Democrat Governor Roy Cooper established a so-called task force for racial equity and criminal justice. Sounds nice, but it's not. That task force was co-authored by then Attorney General and current Democrat Governor Josh Stein. It recommended, quote, reimagining public safety to, quote, promote diversion and other alternatives to arrest. It also advised to de-emphasize felony crimes, prioritize, quote, restorative justice, and eliminate cash bail. Democrats in North Carolina and nationwide are consumed with pushing a woke, soft on crime agenda, no matter how many innocent Americans suffer as a result. Instead of aggressively prosecuting and locking up violent criminals, the Democrat-backed cashless bail approach lets these criminals roam free in our country to offend again and again.
Right.
These reckless policies have turned too many of American cities into hunting grounds for career criminals who mock our justice system, drain law enforcement resources, and wreak havoc on law-abiding citizens. Enough is enough, and that is why President Trump is doing everything in his power by taking action to undo these absurd policies. The president recently signed a powerful executive order directing the AG to submit a list of states and local jurisdictions with cashless bail policies, so that the Trump administration may identify federal funds that are being provided to these states and can potentially be suspended or terminated. President Trump firmly believes that to maintain order in public safety, we must incarcerate individuals whose pending criminal charges or criminal history demonstrate a clear ongoing risk to civil society.
Amen.
This is a common sense and sensible
common
approach
sense.
that the
There you
vast
go.
majority of Americans agree
Common
with, and
sense.
it's time for the Democrat Party to get on board with what is right.
Exactly.
When these criminals are caught, they must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and be sent to prison, where they can no longer terrorize our streets. This is the mandate the American people delivered to President Trump, and it's a mandate he intends to fulfill. Staying on the topic of public safety, new preliminary data released today by Customs and Border Protection in August shows that President Trump has delivered the most secure border in American history. For the fourth straight month, 0 illegal aliens were released into the United States by CBP.
Thank you, Trump.
Nationwide encounters are down 93%.
Everybody, thank you,
below
Trump.
the peak of the Biden administration.
Thank you, Trump.
Border Patrol apprehensions on the southwest border in the entire month of August were less than what was apprehended in 4 days in August 2024 under the Biden administration. President Trump has ended disastrous Biden illegal alien invasion. He sealed our border in record time, keeping this central promise he made to the American public. With that, I will take your questions. Here in our new media seat today, we have Michael Schellenberger, who is the founder of Public News with nearly 2 million readers and subscribers. Michael, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And why don't you kick us off? Sure.
Thank you for making space for new media. Nice to meet all of you. Great to be here. I want to see if you can give some the president is considering additional measures against Europe and Brazil, not just for censorship, but also for preventing political candidates from actually competing in elections. We've now seen in Romania, France, and now Germany with Joachim Paul, efforts to basically just prevent candidates from being able to compete in elections. The president has shown some concern around.
Can you guys hear the question?
Being prevented from running. All of this is coming in the context of increased censorship of online platforms, of American platforms, and efforts to censor Americans. I'm personally being investigated under criminal investigation with my Brazilian colleagues for publishing the Twitter files of Brazil. We're very grateful that the president has imposed Magnitsky sanctions on the judge. Is the president considering additional actions, given that it appears that they're going to end up with a conviction against President Bolsonaro, preventing him from running? Is he considering doing
Thank you for the donation.
In Europe? I mean, it's shocking to see Joachim Paul, this mayoral candidate in Germany, the criminal indictment against him cites him, quote, saying that he loves the Lord of the Rings as reason why he's an extremist and shouldn't be able to run. So I just wonder if you could speak to that. And again, I'm grateful to be here. Nice to meet you all. And I'm grateful for what the Trump administration has done to push for free speech abroad.
Well, thanks for being here, Michael. We appreciate it. Freedom of speech is arguably the most important issue of our time. It is enshrined in our Constitution, and the president believes in it strongly. He himself faced censorship in his road back to this beautiful Oval Office here in Washington, D.C., so he takes this very seriously, as does, I know, the Vice President of the United States and the entire Trump administration, which is why we have taken significant action with regards to Brazil in the form of both sanctions and also leveraging the use of tariffs to ensure that countries around the world are not punishing their citizens in this way. And at the same time, the president is, while he's leveraging the United States to safeguard our interests abroad, he's also making sure that freedom of speech remains here in the United States of America. So I don't have any additional actions to preview for you today, but I can tell you this is a priority for the administration, and the president is unafraid to use the economic might, the military might of the United States of America to protect free speech around the world.
Quick follow-up to that?
Sure.
Quick follow-up, which is just, there was a Reuters story saying that the Trump administration was looking at this Europe-U.S. trade deal as one of the sticking points, this issue of the censorship, not just of U.S. platforms, of Americans. Do you have any updates on how those trade talks are going? And I also wonder if the president is concerned about NATO membership. NATO membership requires that you be a democracy and you have free speech. Is it possible that some of these actions that we've seen in Romania, France, and Germany would disqualify those countries from being in NATO after this?
I have not heard the president discuss NATO membership in regards to this issue in particular, but I have heard him discuss the issue of free speech and the importance of free speech with foreign leaders around the world, including
hold on one
the
second,
Prime
guys.
Minister of the United Kingdom.
Give me 1 second.
Scotland. The president brought this up and how important it is for the Prime Minister to protect free speech in the UK and in various conversations with other world leaders. So he brings it up, and I think the entire world knows that this is a priority for the President of the United States. Gabe.
Thank you, Caroline. Regarding the Israeli strike in Doha, how much time or how much of a heads up did the U.S. get, and does the president support the strike?
Sure. Well, I have a statement to read for all of you with respect to the Israeli strike in Doha, and here it is. This morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending
Absolutely,
attack,
Rick.
which he did.
100%.
The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this
Ace,
attack.
welcome in,
President
Ace.
Trump
Appreciate you, my
wants
friend.
all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace, and quickly. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
To be clear, the president disagrees with the location of the strike and that he passed that along to Prime Minister Netanyahu.
The president just confirmed that in the statement that I just read to you, which I spoke with him about before coming out here. Jackie.
Thank you, Caroline. So is the president upset with Netanyahu now?
The president made his thoughts and concerns about this very clear, and he spoke again both to Prime Minister Netanyahu and also the Emir and the Prime Minister of Qatar after this attack. And the president has always made it very clear that he wants peace in the Middle East, just like he sought that and accomplished that in his first term. He expects all of our allies and friends in the region, that includes both Qatar and Israel, to seek peace as well. And he wants to see that happen, and he's working with all of our allies in the region to get that done.
Any consequences, so to speak, for Netanyahu doing this, as it sounds, against the president's wishes, or at least his belief that it was appropriate? Is there going to be any directive from the president to Netanyahu in terms of what's allowed in the future? And also, is there any concern this could jeopardize the Abraham Accords?
Look, that's a decision only the president can make. With respect to your first question, to answer your second question, as you heard from the president, he said he believes that this can serve as an opportunity for peace, and he's still actively and aggressively pursuing it with all of our allies and partners in the region. Jennifer.
Just to follow up on that, Caroline, are you able to say how often the president spoke to the Prime Minister of Israel before this? Because that's one question. And then what did he mean on Sunday when he posted, "I've given my last warning to Hamas," etc.? He wasn't talking about this strike on Doha?
No, he was not. As I told you, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that Israel was attacking Hamas, and the president spoke to the Prime Minister after the attack, as well as, again, the Emir and the Prime Minister of Qatar. And I know Secretary Rubio and Special Envoy Witkoff were present for that call with the Qataris as well. Reagan.
Thanks, Caroline. I have two questions for you on the private crackdown.
Sure.
Democrats have tried to argue that red states have higher crime rates while overlooking problems of high crime in blue cities. I'm wondering if the president would consider working with red state governors to fix high crime in blue cities like in Memphis, Tennessee.
So first of all, I want to get to the premise of your question, Reagan, which is being pushed by Democrats, that there is crime in red states. Of course, there is crime in all states, but the crime in these cities is all in cities that are run by Democrats. If you look at the list of the top 20
crime in everyone,
cities
but
in the United States, every single one, with the exception of one in Louisiana, is run by a Democrat. And these Democrats have supported the same policies that I spoke about at the beginning of the briefing, like cashless bail. If you look at a red state, Mississippi, but a Democrat-run city in that state, Jackson, in 2019, Jackson, Mississippi eliminated cash bail for virtually all misdemeanor cases. And while Jackson is not formally a sanctuary city, the state of Mississippi formally banned sanctuary cities, and this city has acted as a de facto sanctuary city for criminals and illegal illegal aliens since 2017.
Insurrection Act in Minneapolis, folks.
A Democrat-run city
Real
in
soon.
a red state. In 2017, the Birmingham City Council
Real soon,
unanimously
folks.
passed a resolution, quote, committing to establish sanctuary policies. So if you actually look at the facts from these Democrat-run cities, these are cities that are run by Democrats and by by members of the Democrat Party.
Susu, I will. Thank you, my friend.
And they have
Appreciate
all
you so
supported
much.
these disastrous policies which allow repeated career criminals back onto the streets to further commit acts of violence. And so to answer your question, yes, the president wants to work with anyone across this country who wants to end these horrible
Exactly,
policies,
Barbara.
and to bring law and order to our streets.
Thank you for that
And
comment.
I think that is proven by his tremendous cooperation with the mayor of Washington, D.C. and our nation's capital. And just look at the results of that. And I do have some updates for you on the D.C. crime crackdown if anyone is interested.
Yeah,
There have been a
we
total
are.
of 2,177 arrests made since the start of the operation
Whoa.
on August 7th. Just last night, there were 57 arrests made in Washington, D.C.
Nice.
Of the 57 arrests, there were 14 illegal aliens who
Whoa.
were arrested, many of whom had prior criminal histories. And other arrests just last night in our nation's capital. So you all can be
Absolutely,
very grateful
Jason.
for this. Our great men and women of law enforcement, both federal and local, working together as they should, made an arrest on a warrant for assault with the intent to kill. The subject shot 2 adult males after an altercation. They made an arrest on a warrant for an armed carjacking. The subject assaulted an adult male in the face with a firearm and then took his keys. We also made an arrest on a warrant for simple assault and the destruction of property and subsequently charged with second-degree theft. Last night in D.C., there was an arrest for possession of a controlled substance with second-degree theft. There was an arrest for possession of a controlled substance with the intent to distribute. That subject, the person is also a subject of interest in a homicide and a carjacking. Last night in D.C., we also arrested a felon in possession of a firearm who was carrying that firearm without a license. So these are the career criminals. These are the bad guys that we are picking up in Washington, D.C. every day.
Thank you, President Trump.
In every Democrat-run city across the
Thank
country.
you, ICE
in hopes
agents.
that more Democrats will call the White House to
ICE
allow us
rules, Rick. ICE rules.
Trump's federalization of the DC police. Mayor Gotzer signed an executive order formalizing cooperation with federal forces. You just mentioned all the success that the operation has had. Does the White House believe that the Mayor Bowser's action is enough to continue the crime crackdown?
We are very grateful for the mayor's cooperation in this effort, and we look forward to continuing to work with her and the Metropolitan Police Department. Bloomberg.
Amen, Palin.
Caroline, the president says, he would claim to speak with Putin soon. Can we expect a phone call between the two leaders this week?
I don't have any phone calls to read out between you, the president, and any other foreign leaders. Ed.
Thank you. I want to ask about the benchmark revisions that came out. If you look at the revisions between March of 2024 and March of 2025, and you do a little math, it averages out to 73,000 jobs roughly per month added to the economy, less than what was thought. When can we expect the Trump administration, now that their policies are rolling out, for that increase, that average to increase?
Well, let me just say something about the revisions that came out this morning. And this was one of the biggest revisions in absolute terms in decades. In the benchmark year, March 2024 to 2025, shows that the job growth was vastly weaker during the Biden administration than ever previously reported.
I love that
In this
comment.
revision and last year's job growth was actually
doing God's
overstated
work.
by approximately
Amen.
2 million jobs. And the Biden administration stood up here and vouched for that data and told you that data was real. And when President Trump calls into question the veracity of that data, like he did before he took the oath of office and even now as president of the United States, he was ridiculed for that. And turns out this revision proves 2 things. Number one, the president was right. And this is why we need new leadership at the
Absolutely.
Fed. And this makes it very clear that President Trump inherited a much worse economy by the Biden administration than ever reported. And it also proves that the Federal Reserve
How
is
are you,
holding,
Sue?
Our monetary policy far too restrictive. Interest rates are too high. The Fed needs to cut the rates because of the mess that we inherited from the Biden administration.
A huge mess.
The president has had a year. Secretary Besson said maybe the fourth.
Thank you so much for the likes, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching this on your laptop or your phone, wherever you're watching it, your TV, we appreciate the like, subscribe if you have it. Thank you.
New leadership at the BLS so we can have data that we can actually rely on. And that's what the president is doing, and we hope that his nominee will soon be confirmed. Charlie.
You addressed the crime of Raymond's recap.
And the president has done a lot to deliver justice for victims of crimes like that horrific stabbing. And the Epstein files are back in the news because a lot of Americans feel that that Jeffrey Epstein's victims never got.
Mike Money, it's a good opportunity.
Care about these victims.
If you're young, go for it.
Does he want to deliver more?
Thank you, Whiskey Tango. Thank you so very much.
The president cares about victims of all crimes, and that's why Republicans in the Trump Department of Justice have done more in terms of transparency when it comes to the Epstein case than any prior administration. And why are the Democrats all of a sudden caring about this? It's
right.
Because they are desperately trying to concoct a hoax to smear the president of the United States. We have seen this time and time again.
A big hoax.
O'Connor and all of these other Democrats, they could have cared about those victims 4 years ago.
Exactly.
When Joe Biden was in office, they could have pushed for transparency then.
Right.
Unfortunately, the Democrats are using victims as political pawns to try to smear and to push a hoax against the president of the United States. And I will get you numbers on the amount of child predators that this administration and this FBI and this Department of Justice have locked up under President Trump's leadership.
Thank you, President Trump. We appreciate you as the President of the United States. One of the best ever.
Sexual crimes, and that includes the deportation of illegal aliens who are perpetrating these crimes against innocent victims in our country right now today, and that remains a top priority for this administration.
Does the president, will he meet with the victims on the Doha strikes? Did the president speak with Netanyahu before they were carried out? Did he urge him to not go through with it, or did they only speak afterwards?
Again, I read you a statement. The Trump administration was notified by the United States.
She just told you, asshole.
Israel was attacking Hamas. The president directed the special envoy Witkoff to immediately call the Qataris. And after the attack, he spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Behind you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
About the Epstein case, would the White House support a professional handwriting expert review of the document released yesterday to prove that it's not the president's signature?
Sure, we would support that. And in fact, I have already seen many forensic...
What's going on, Dan?
Analysts of signatures coming
What's
out.
up, John?
It was the Daily Signal that published a piece with 3 separate signature analysts.
Welcome
who
in,
said
everybody.
This absolutely was not the president's authentic signature, and we have maintained that position all along. The president did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter, and that's why the president's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal, and they will continue to. Christian.
Amen.
Thanks, Caroline. Following up on Ed, now that we have these revised jobs numbers, is the president concerned at all that price spikes, stemming from his tariffs through the end of the year, might actually be driving the country towards a depression or a recession?
Sit down. What depression?
To these
Get the hell out of here, Scazziata.
the jobs data was.
The president is committed to his policies because his policies are working, Christian. And there have been a lot of people fear-mongering about inflation in this room, but it just has not come to fruition. On a monthly basis, CPI inflation has now come in at or below the market's expectation for 6 consecutive months. Every month that President Trump has been in office, overall inflation has run at a 1.9% average pace in the president's first 6 months
President
in
Trump.
office. I would have told all of you that in January, you would not have believed me, but those are the facts and those are the numbers. And we also see many other positive signs in economic indicators like real GDP. In the second quarter, it was revised up to 3.3%. That beat the market's expectation. We know there's a capital spending boom right now, which we know is one of the greatest economic indicators of job growth. We know wages are increasing at a far faster pace than they were under the previous administration. We see productivity in the second quarter was also revised up to a strong 3.3%. In total industrial production, factory output also surged. All of this means the economy is moving, people are working, people are spending money.
Money's being exchanged, exactly.
That is also ticking up and in the right
Money's
direction.
being exchanged. Gas prices below $2.
Work the president has done in terms of energy
Age
and
down.
unlocking our energy dominance in this
Markets
country.
up.
Again, these jobs, the numbers
People are
from the
making
BLS
money.
today prove that the
Go
economy
work,
is an absolute
make
mess,
money.
and we are working every single day to fix it.
Thank
And
you,
all of
Sue.
these indicators I just
Thank
read
you.
for you are positive sign of what is to come.
One more quickly on
Sure,
trade,
Danny.
Just wanted to get a bit of clarity on the sequence of events for the Doha attack and the notification. You said that the U.S. military notified, if I got it right, the Trump administration was notified by the U.S. military.
That's right.
Was the U.S. military notified by the Israeli military, or did the U.S. military detect an incoming Israeli attack on Qatar?
The U.S. military notified the White House and the President of the United States. That's all I have.
Welcome
to
in,
share.
JD.
Jeff.
Also following up, you said that the president assured the leaders in Qatar that this would never happen again. Did he say that to the Prime Minister of Israel, and did Prime Minister Netanyahu agree to that?
The president told that to the emir and the prime minister of Qatar, and the president also overstressed the importance of peace in the region in his conversation with Prime Minister Netanyahu as well. And Prime Minister Netanyahu told President Trump he wants peace and he wants it quickly. That's what the president expects to happen. The president is very clear in the statement that he just had me reading. You will all see it out on True Social very shortly, I am sure. The whole world will see it. He wants all of the hostages released out of Gaza, and he wants this war to end. Those are two clear directives that the president is making very clear
That's
for
right.
the entire world to understand.
That's right.
Mary.
Qatar obviously has been helping to negotiate these ceasefire talks. Does the president think that Israel is undermining negotiations by striking Qatar? Is he concerned that Qatar's no longer going to want to play that intermediary level?
I think the president.
I agree,
addressed that
Barbara,
in the statement. I can read the
150%,
whole
Barbara.
thing for you again. I think it's very thorough because the
I
president
agree,
wanted
Barbara.
to address all of your questions. We wrote, unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However,
Welcome in,
eliminating
guy.
Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living
What's
in
up,
Gaza,
Matthew?
is a worthy goal. So he answered that question
And
himself.
you can't say that Israel informed the U.S.
What I can tell you is the United States military informed the Trump administration.
Thank you. A quick follow on that. Can you tell us when the U.S. military was notified, given that the largest U.S. military base is in Doha? And then I have a question on DC crime.
This morning, just before the attack, as I said earlier as well.
Okay, thank you. And yesterday, the president spoke about DC crime and talked about how there was virtually none. And then he expressed frustration about things that take place in the home they call crime. He said, they'll do anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they
What
say
is she talking about?
See, now I can't claim 100%. Exactly what crimes was the president referring to?
He wasn't referring to crimes. That's exactly the point he was making.
Exactly.
The president is saying, and that is that these crimes will be made up and reported as a crime to undermine the great work that the federal task force is doing to reduce crime in Washington, D.C. And I think the president has every reason to believe that, given the efforts of many reporters in this room who actively seek to undermine the president and what he's doing in our nation's capital. We all know that deep inside you all agree with this because you all live here, and I'm sure you are very grateful for the administration's efforts to make the city, which we all reside in,
Yes, we are.
much safer for ourselves.
Yes,
and
we
our
are.
families. Michael.
Thank you, Caroline. Florida Congressman Randy Fine is calling for judges to face consequences if the violent repeat offenders they release go on to commit new crimes. Is that something the president supports?
It's not something I've heard the president discuss. You can ask him yourself next time you have the opportunity to. How's that?
Caroline, one more question. On Thursday, President
Great
Trump
answer.
went to the Pentagon and also to New York City in honor of the 24th anniversary of 9/11. Has the president expressed any interest on creating or having congressmen create a new 9/11 commission to answer some of the ongoing questions many Americans have about that day?
I, again, have not heard the president discuss that. You're welcome to ask him yourself, but I do know he very much looks forward to going to both the Pentagon and the Yankees game in New York City on Thursday to commemorate the 24th anniversary.
Good for you, Trump.
The president
Thank you,
is a
President
New Yorker
Trump.
at heart. He loves the city very much. It is his home, and you'll hear more about that on Thursday when the president speaks on this himself.
God bless.
Kelly.
Caroline, thank you. I wanted to ask you a question about the president speaking yesterday before the Religious Liberty Commission. As you know, he's created the White House Faith Office, the Task Force on Anti-Christian Bias, and yesterday he talked about the importance of the Bible in America and the importance of prayer in America. Some people have criticized him for that in stating that he's a
George, what's going on, George? God
The
bless.
president has called on the American people.
What happened?
Turn heads in the totally redesigned Subaru Outback. Dog tested, dog approved.
Hold on. My internet, I lost my internet. 12 teams. The whole internet got shut down.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think.
Look, I can call the police right now. Whoever's doing that threat, your son is home. All kind of stuff he has. And watch your back, he said.
Me?
Yeah. Soon. I want to call the police now. This is not right. I need to intercept the phone. Because this is every day when you start this thing.
Question first on prayer.
I'm sorry, guys. We lost the internet.
I want to
Prayer
share this to the
guidelines
person
to challenge
who's
the
called because
support
it's in the chat.
on the right to pray in public schools.
I can do it.
Well, the president spoke about that
Yeah.
yesterday and some of the changes we
Oh.
are making to ensure that the
I wanna
religious
call the
liberties
police.
of
Yes, I
America's
do.
students and our youth are respected in public schools. In fact, he had a young student and invited him on stage to share his story about how when this young boy spoke about biological and biblical truth in his classroom, he faced consequences for that. And
The
how
internet shut down
Americans of
for
faith
about
should
a
not
minute.
be facing consequences for
I want to show
expressing
because I can
their
call the
religious
police and they
freedom
can.
and their religious
I want the
views,
person
not in
they
any
do
public
my
school in America
my
should not
little
be
calls
putting.
every day,
The
2 or 3
president talked about that
times.
yesterday.
Read this messaging.
Thank you so much.
See, I received another call for you.
What was President
Tread sail back on my son, on me. I want to call the police, and trust me, it will find who you are.
Go ahead.
After the Supreme Court ruling yesterday
I'm scared.
on the
You come
ICE
to
raids in
motorcycle
Los
and call the
Angeles,
police.
some, particularly non-white U.S. citizens, are saying that they're going to begin carrying their U.S. passports with them at all times. What is the White House's response to Americans who are concerned about being swept up, as others have been already, in these enforcement actions?
They should not be concerned because this administration is focused on the detention and deportation of illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's immigration laws. And the Supreme Court upheld the Trump administration's right to stop individuals in Los Angeles to briefly question them regarding their legal status because the law allows this, and this has been the practice
Absolutely,
of the federal
Mike.
government for decades. And the Immigration
Thank you,
Nationality
Susu. I
Act states
appreciate that so very
immigration
much.
officers
Thank you
can
so much.
briefly stop an individual to question them
Appreciate
about
you.
their immigration status if the officer has reasonable suspicion that the individual is illegally present in the United States.
She's
And
fine,
reasonable
Sue.
Suspicion is not just based on race; it's based on a totality of the circumstances to review. And I will tell you, I spoke to our border czar about this morning. When ICE goes out to conduct a targeted operation to deport illegal criminals from our community, they are doing so with intelligence. They are doing so with law enforcement sources. They are doing so in most cases with the backing of local law enforcement who know exactly where
Thank you,
these illegal
Janine.
alien criminals,
320. I appreciate all of you who
drug
like this
dealers
live
are hiding
stream.
in plain sight in American communities. And the men and women of ICE are doing everything
Carolyn
they
Levitt,
can to not only follow
couple
the
more
law, but
minutes.
to enforce the law. And it's about time that has happened because we had 4 years of an administration who completely ignored and evaded our nation's very clear immigration laws, and the Supreme Court has reaffirmed that. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. One of the other documents released by the House Oversight Committee contained a photo of Jeffrey Epstein holding an oversized check that was made out to him.
Thank you, George.
Check from the
Right back to
president
you.
for
Thank you.
$22,000 for a fully depreciated woman. I wondered if the president has any recollection of that, or what you guys make of that photo that was included in those documents.
Did you see the signature on that check? It is not Donald Trump's signature. It is absolutely not. The president did not sign that check.
Does he recognize the woman?
Caroline,
On the New York City election, is he
Well, I'll
considering?
take both of you. Go ahead.
So, first, is the president considering offering Mayor Eric Adams a job? If so, why? And does he think
Hey,
Curtis
Lon,
Lee
thank
was a
you so
serious
much.
candidate
Thank
for New York
you.
City mayor?
Look, the president has made it quite clear he wants this race to move forward in New York City. He does not want a communist to be running New York City, but as for weighing in on other individual candidates, I'll leave that to the president to do himself.
And then following up on Reagan's question, many of these highest crime cities in America, they're led by black mayors, including the 3 that you mentioned, Jackson, Memphis, Birmingham. So given that, what's your response to criticism from the left that Trump is targeting black mayors? Isn't he just trying to protect black people?
The president is trying to protect all Americans from crime, and he wants to make all of our cities in America safe. And the fact is, the most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrats overwhelmingly. And according to the FBI crime statistics, 19 of the top 20 cities with the highest murder rate are run by Democrats.
Likewise,
High
Palin,
crime,
likewise.
cities are driving up the crime
Absolutely.
crime stats in otherwise safe red states. So, of
Hey,
course,
thank you, moderators.
He's made that quite clear.
Mike Johnson came out and said that the president was an FBI informant. Do you know what he meant by that, if it's not true?
I can affirm that is not true. I think the speaker was referring to the fact that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago property for reasons the president has already discussed. John.
Oh, thank you, Carolyn. First of all, as a Washington, D.C. resident with my family, I just want to thank the administration for revitalizing safety here in the last 3 weeks. It's been stunning. Well, I want to go to Virginia. All of a sudden, out of the blue, Winsome Sears has closed the gap on Abigail Spanberger. Got 4 issues. Coerced abortions in Fairfax County without telling mom or dad, no parents, girls going in boys' bathrooms on film, right? 2 of the young fellows get suspended for complaining about it. Virginia Beach man, an innocent man, is now died in a car crash by a drunk illegal going on the other side of the road. And now you got Spanberger's got these racist signs. When are we going to get the president to make an official endorsement of Winsome Sears and maybe come and campaign in South and West Virginia?
Well, as you know, I'm very limited in what I can talk about when it comes to political endorsements in future elections from this government podium. But all of the issues that you just mentioned, I know are very important to the president, and it's quite common sense. It's the foundation of the Republican Party, and it's what sent this president back to the Oval Office. We want to keep men out of women's sports and basketball.
Absolutely.
We want criminals
They
to
don't
be locked
belong.
up. The president wants to see law
And that's
order in
that.
every state across the country. But as for
Men do
political
not belong in
endorsements,
women's
I'll leave that
sports.
to him and his political advisors to make
100%.
those. Sure. Haley.
Thanks, Caroline. I have 2 questions for you, okay? One on Doha and one on immigration and crime.
Sure.
On Doha, ahead of the strike we saw today, did the administration at any point try to dissuade the Israelis from the potential for an action like we saw today?
Again, I have answered questions repeatedly on this. I have a very lengthy statement which we will release after this briefing for all of you to read and to report on once again.
Okay, and then
Thank
on
you,
a case
Caroline.
in Maryland, the killing of Dakara Thompson, there are reports that the suspect arrested for her murder was in the country illegally and arrested and released for driving under the influence both in 2022 and in April of this year by U.S. Park Police. Is the administration looking into what process allowed this to take place?
Yes, we absolutely are. As soon as we saw this case, we ensured that the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice were on it, and I can assure you that they are. This is another heinous act of violence against someone who should have never been in our country
Exactly.
illegally in the first place.
Should have never been in
And
our
that's exactly
country.
Why the
Biden.
deportation
Thank you,
of illegal
Biden.
criminals from our country is a top priority for this administration, and it's something that is happening every single day. And I would encourage all of you to continue to
Thank you,
report
John.
on the very violent illegal alien criminals that we are deporting daily from American communities across the country. We will never understand how many lives have been saved by these efforts, or how many lives would have been lost if not for this president and the administration's policy to deport illegal criminal aliens. Emily.
Thank you, TikTok patron number 1.
I don't have any meetings for you to read out on that.
Some silly questions, no? Some of the media is just, what are they?
Americans owning guns. Is that something the president would support, even as we've seen some gun groups oppose?
Oh, here we go.
I saw reporting on this. I understand there were very preliminary, low-level discussions about this at the Department of Justice, and then sometimes those discussions are reported as fact.
I think
I'm
so,
not tracking
Thomas
any
Brown.
Potential actions on this front, and I'll let the president weigh in on that. It's a policy decision, and it's
She's smart, too.
far too early, or would be premature, inappropriate for me to weigh in on it at this point in time. Behind you. Go ahead.
After the immigration raid at the plant
Hello, Deborah.
on Friday, the president said over the weekend that he's open to some kind of changes in perhaps rules or visa rules or law that would prevent something like that happening in the future for skilled workers to train American workers.
That's right.
Can you confirm that and that the administration supports those changes, and what exactly would that look like?
Well, the president said it himself in a statement that he put out on Sunday night, where he is very grateful for foreign companies from around the world and the investments that they're making right here in the United States of America. And he understands that these companies want to bring their highly skilled and trained workers with them, especially when they're creating very niche products like chips, or in this case, in Georgia, like batteries. But the president also expects expects these foreign companies to hire American workers, and for these foreign workers and American workers to work together to train and to teach one another. And so he expects these foreign companies to hire American labor. We want Americans to have these jobs. We want Americans need these jobs, but he also understands the need for these companies to bring over their workers who already have
Thank
these
you,
skills.
Ozzy,
So
for
I
your
think it's
like,
very-
and thank you.
I think it's a very nuanced and responsible and sensible approach for the president to take, and I know that the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Commerce are working on this matter together. I would defer you to them for any further action on this front.
Caroline, thank you. Just, I want to follow up on something you said. You said the Epstein documents are a hoax that Democrats are perpetrating against the president. You said he didn't sign that check, that he didn't sign the birthday card that he allegedly signed. So what is the theory, since these documents came from the Epstein estate? Who is, I guess in your view, faking these documents?
I did not say the documents are a hoax. I said the entire narrative surrounding Jeffrey Epstein right now that is absorbing many of the liberal cable channels on television.
Thank you,
is
Caroline.
a hoax that is being perpetuated by opportunistic Democrats like Ro Khanna and the others whom you saw on that press conference outside of Capitol Hill, who are trying to push this hoax against the President of the United States.
What exactly is the hoax? I'm just trying to understand what's fake. What's fake is not the documents.
The hoax is the Democrats pretending to care about
She
victims
just took
of
the
crime
words out of my
when they
mouth.
do not care about victims of crime, when they have done nothing to solve crimes, when they have done nothing to lock up child pedophiles and child rapists across the country, and when they are now using victims as political props to try and, again, smear the President of the United States and drag on this bad story about him. It is a distraction. The Democrats view this story as nothing more than an attempt to distract from the accomplishments and the achievements of this administration. And that is what we mean when we call it a hoax.
If he didn't sign these, if you said he didn't sign the birthday card, he didn't do this, he also didn't do the check, those were in documents from the estate. So what is the working theory as to why he's in the...
The president has one of the most famous signatures in the world, and he has for many, many years. You know that, Maggie, you've covered him for a long time, long before he assumed this office when he was a businessman in New York. The president did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents. He maintains that position, and that position will be argued in court by his lawyers. The president is very confident he is going to win this case. Deanna.
Thank you. Is the president...
I think Carolyn's spot on. Thank you for that comment.
Maybe at the Yankees game.
Jay Sharp.
Has he personally talked to him about the race?
I am not tracking any meeting with Mayor Adams at this time, but if that happens, I'm sure the New York Post will be one of the first people to know about it. I'll take a couple more questions. I already know it's in the back.
Bob Dempsey with News Nation. Regarding the growing U.S. military
News
presence,
Nation, all the way in the back.
regarding the U.S. military, growing U.S. military presence in the Caribbean, when asked directly about possible future military action, President Trump responded, "You're going to find out." What could the U.S. public expect of that situation moving forward, and what sort of ongoing threat does Trendeo Agro?
I think it would be very unwise of me to preview what the president meant from this podium. But I think with the heart of what the president was saying, I know the heart of what the president was saying and this administration believes is that the regime in Venezuela is illegitimate. And it is unacceptable to this president and this administration to traffic illegal, deadly drugs into the United States of America. And that's why the president and the administration took strong action.
Strong action. Thank you, Donald Trump, President
in
Trump.
international waters, as you all saw. I think that sends a very strong message to drug traffickers around the world. The president will not tolerate it, and the amount of drugs on that boat represents the lives of thousands of Americans that could have been killed by that deadly poison, and we're not going to allow that deadly poison to come into our country. The president will be signing a proclamation in the Oval Office later this afternoon, and we will see you all later. Thank you.
All right.
Hold on. Dental implants in Las Vegas. Get your free x-ray, exam, and consultation today. And when we say free, we actually mean free. Don't worry about showing up only to find out there's an extra cost for the x-rays. Nope.
Isn't she great, Carolyn Levitt? I mean, some of these questions from these fake news outlets. I mean, she's amazing, and they ask the same question over and over to try to intimidate her. You're not going to intimidate her. And you know what? Trump is very serious about the situation that's developing through Minneapolis, and he is frustrated on what he's seeing towards the residents and the great people of Minneapolis, because it's not the people, the hardworking people's fault, the Democrats' fault. Again, it's these radical, thank you, It's these radical group of people filled with hate. And these reporters are also some of these reporters are are so filled with hate for our president, Donald Trump, and our country. I just don't have the words to explain on how this country is going. But once again, thank God we have Trump, like the flag says behind me. Trump won. Get over it. There's a lot of haters and a lot of people that are confused, but I can tell you this. A lot of people are going to be looking back in the next 10 years, 20 years. There'll be movies made for Donald Trump. He will go down as the best, one of the best, if not the very best president ever. Not in our lifetime, but ever. And, you know, you could say what you want. A lot of these people have your minds made up. But what's happening right now with the weak leadership in Minneapolis, in California, in Chicago, you heard them. And then they try to make it a race thing. According to these black mayors, it's the party. There's white, black, Hispanic, illegal people running. They try to make it a race. Doesn't work, right? Donald Trump won the majority of African American. They try to make it. A cult. They try to throw all this hate on us. They say that we conservatives, American, we don't like gay people. It's the exact opposite. It's some of the radical, unorganized, some of the radical party. We're not for the middle class. We're for the billionaires. Well, if we were for the billionaires, Donald Trump was for the billionaires. Why did he say goodbye to Elon Musk when Elon called him out? Donald Trump is for hardworking Americans. Donald Trump is for all of us. And what we are witness every night now for the last 10, 11 days in Minneapolis, the people that are getting paid in full for these protests, they should be really ashamed and look themselves in the mirror to be out there, paid administrator, and working on, threatening the ICE agents and literally ambushing them, right? And supporting Venezuela people that are living there illegal, taking advantage of our welfare, that our taxpaying, 40% of our taxpaying money is going out to help out people who run through hard times that's gone to Somalia, Mexico, and all over the world. And the Democrats are upset of these ICE agents. They think the ICE agents are there trying to take out people. There's some kind of a no. They are there for their job, to keep the city safer, to get rid of these illegals and get them back. And a lot of these people are murderers. You hear Trump say it over and over. I'm going to say it again. They're rapists, murderers, drug cartels, bad people. And I get questions. Well, Sal, what about the good people? What about them? Send them back too. It's illegal to step on here. Thank God. You come here the legal way through process, and Donald Trump alluded to this many times and do well. This has got to stop. It will stop. Donald Trump will be signing the Insurrection Act probably within tomorrow. I would have signed it 2 days ago, and he will take full control with the Insurrection Act of Minneapolis streets and get these people off the streets, arrested with felonies. And I got to tell you, do you guys want to see Tim Walz? He needs to be in prison. These allegations and this fraud, whether he was in on it or confused or stupid, even if he's stupid, you got to go. He needs to go. He needs to step down or worse, be in prison. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Gavin Newsom. We're going to be calling him out. Make sure you like and subscribe and have it, because we are going to be covering Gavin Newsom's state next. Wider and bigger in California, because we have different kind of fraud there. We have, well, not different. You have government, you have FEMA money, corruption, homeless money, billions of dollars that went for the homeless and not much went to them, but went to illegals in Mexico we're going to uncover that very soon. And they're going to be called out too. So much fraud. And you heard Carolyn Levitt. It's in all states, but particularly in these Democrat states. They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. And guess what? It's done. And that's that. We have a president who cares, and these people should be held responsible. And I'm tired of them just saying they're going to be responsible and they retired from office. No, we need to hold them with handcuffs and put put in prison for a very, very long time. This is our tax-paying money. And for those who say, well, no, it's not. We don't live in Minneapolis. It's federal. And that's each and every one of our tax-paying money. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, prayers with Donald Trump, prayers that we don't have to come on live and see any more of these ridiculous protests and these horrible threats to ICE agents. Forget the signs. Forget the signs for a second, okay? I know they're upsetting you guys, upsets me. I'm talking about ambushing and following these federal ICE agents into the coffee shop and restaurants, threatening their families. Threatening their families. These ICE agents, the one who got ambushed yesterday, was in the hospital and released. Thank God he's okay with 3 Venezuelans. He can't even see his family he can't even talk to his family because of the death threats that starts from our leadership and government of Tim Walz, and these people are threatening his life. Listen to what I just said. That is not the American way. The American way is disagreements, come to a conclusion, work on issues, work on better economy, keeping our borders safer, and not get caught up on the last presidents that we had, including Bill Clinton, including some of the good ones like Ronald Reagan. We are in the right steps and direction on saving America. Saving America. When are people going to wake up? When are people going to stop hating on Donald Trump? If you want to hate him, that's fine. But he is the president of the United States. And remember, you'll be looking back at this, and there'll be huge movies. There'll be kids born tomorrow be looking, who was that? Who was that man? Who was that man with all that energy who cared about America? And the answer to that will be, from a lot of us, that was a president. That was a leader. That was a MAGA. That was a bunch of American people from the Republican side, the Democrat side, independent. That was a bunch of African Americans. That was a bunch of Latino women and men. That was a bunch of people that really care, who knew it was obvious that our next leadership under Kamala, and God forbid, Tim Walz could have been running this country. That was a man who stepped up, who sacrificed his life, was a little bit away from being brain dead or maybe not with us anymore, and we could say thank God. And we should be able to say thank God. We should be able to pray, not judging on others who don't believe. We should be able to say pledge allegiance to the United States of America. We should be able to believe in God and celebrate Christmas and have Christopher Columbus statues and Martin Luther King and speak the truth on what's happening and have our voices heard, and not kids being suspended in school because of their thoughts. It's horrible. Thank you, Trump. And thank you, Carolyn Levitt. What a great, beautiful person. I see a lot of the comments. She's beautiful. Beautiful inside, smart, well-spoken, and just perfect. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A great live stream. Once again, subscribe now if you haven't. We'll be covering this ongoing. Keep your eyes and notifications on this Iran situation. It can be very complex. It's not going to be easy like Venezuela on taking out the regime. We got to be very careful on who the hell these people are. I listened to some Iranian news outlets, and even they're confused a little bit. So let's keep a close eye on that. But I have faith. If anybody was organizing on taking a regime down and making Iran better situation, is now or never. Yes, it's Donald Trump and our Vice President, J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. Thank you all for being here. God bless you and your family. We'll see you on the next live stream. Take good care of yourself, guys. I'm out. Thank you. Thank you, Whiskey Tango, and a few donations here at the end that came in I didn't acknowledge. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you. God bless. God bless Donald Trump. Have faith in your country and stand up. And I don't mean stand up and actually physical. We don't do that. We stand up as Americans, and that will never go away. We are Americans. And with that said, I'm out. God bless.